Hey there, adventurers. I'm Norwolf. Welcome to my RPG realm, where I plan to highlight some of the classic tabletop role-playing games of the past, as well as some that are more current. There will be walkthroughs, examples of play, and some solo sessions. Speaking of solo sessions, this will be my first session for what will hopefully be a solo playthrough series using Powers and Perils. I guess you could consider this essentially a session 0 or 0-like, maybe 0-ish. The challenge I've had, or the challenge I've encountered as I've been doing some prep work this week, is that I just have far too much reference material that I can choose from. But I will get into that shortly here. I will be taking the two characters that I created in the previous videos. Raffin are fighter type, and Gildor Moonbrin are magic using fighter type as well, I guess you'd call them. And I've made some adjustments to these guys to essentially bring them in line with the version 2 rules. So some minor alterations to them. And as I mentioned before in previous videos, you can find these revised rules on the powersandperils.org website, which I'll put a link to down below. I will also be adding in some homebrew rules, which include armor and shield variations, some racial variations that have a tie back to classic D&D and other sources, and some additional skills and spells, and likely a few other things that I'll cover as they come up. I won't be using the Powers and Perils world setting, which is Perilous Lands, but I will be using my own homebrew setting, which I came up with several years back, which is part of a short campaign. You'll notice this is a rather old drawing done with some pencil crayons. Pencil crayons are your friend. And what I've done in this past week is actually updated this using hex kit. So I actually have a hex kit map that I can export and bring into, well, print as you see here, or bring into a VTT if I choose to use something like that to display some of the maps and battle maps and whatever else I may end up using here. The kingdom itself, typical story. It's part of a larger empire that has collapsed somewhere in the past 100 or 200 years. This and many other little kingdoms have had to learn how to survive on their own. They too have gone through their own challenges with various humanoid races invading and attacking and devastating the populations and whatnot. So we'll see where that goes. I'm likely going to incorporate some, aside from the adventures that I've already got created for this little kingdom, likely incorporate some hex crawl into this. I haven't settled on hex crawl procedures yet. I've got a lot of choices. There's a lot of great sources for hex crawls and whatnot out there. I don't, as you see, I don't need to determine what's actually, what terrain is in the hex, but it's, finding out, is there ruins or something else that's going on in the hex that might be of interest to our adventurers. For that, again, I've got, like I said, a number of different sources. Sandbox Generator has got a lot of hype lately. I do like this little book. Printed it out and did my own binding here. Again, got some great tables. So I may use this, or likely leaning towards using that. Also got the D30 Sandbox Companion and D30 DM Companion. These are a close second. There's Perilous Wilds Revised Edition. Freebooters of the Frontier has some good stuff in it to go along with Perilous Wilds. GURPS Dungeon Fantasy 16 Wilderness Adventures. Again, more good tables to choose from. The Judges Guild Ready Reference Sheets. More handy tables. Into the Wild and Filling in the Blanks. I do like these two books. it's very likely I may incorporate some stuff out of these into what I'm doing. And one of my more recent additions has been the FlexTail hex crawl toolkit. Some 400 pages of table goodness as well. So like I said, we'll see where we end up, or where I end up with these things. So again, that's to figure out what's in the hexes as they get off the main roads or main paths. Oracle wise, I've got a plethora of choices here as well. Whether I go into just using cards from the Game Master's Apprentice, I've got the fantasy deck and the base deck here. Great options. Got the Dungeon World Oracle deck, which can relatively easily be used for some simple Oracle activities. Things like GM move and whatnot may not be particularly handy in all role-playing games, but again, just another option for what to use. And then getting into the actual books themselves. For me right now, I think it's a toss-up between using Gemulator and Game Unfolding Machine, or I guess Game Unfolding Machine. Myself, I kind of think that I want to be able to apply my Game Master emulator for whatever role-playing game I want to run, whether it's Powers and Perils, whether it's AD&D, whether it's maybe Aftermath or Space Opera, you name it. I'd rather kind of learn or get familiar with a particular Game Master emulator and kind of stick with it as much as possible, rather than if you're getting into these books from Parts Per Million are good if you are focusing on a particular role-playing system, whether it's for example Dungeon World, Old School Essentials, or Stars Without Number in these instances. But if you're gonna, like I said, if you're gonna go to a bunch of different role-playing games, you may want to look at something that's a little bit more generic, like Mythic Game Master Emulator, Game Unfolding Machine, Gemulator, because by the time you start purchasing a number of these, these may work well for you, but you also may want to have some options. So again, I'm considering these guys. There's the Covetous Poets Adventure Creator and Solo GM Guidebook. Of course, I've got some of these out of order here. I've got the older version of Mythic Game Master Emulator with the variations to. If you're looking at 5th edition, there's a number of reference books for 5th edition that in my humble opinion can easily be adapted to a number of other role-playing games or leveraged for other role-playing games. Solo Adventure Toolbox and Part 2 Solo Adventure Toolbox, again, great references. You'll see I've got handy tabs in my books. DM Yourself and DM Yourselves, easily meant for 5th edition, easily adapted to other game systems. And of course, another recent addition for myself is the FlexTail Solo Adventures Toolkit. Another actually simple option would be to use the Scarlet Heroes, the Oracle and out of the Scarlet Heroes role-playing game. I think I've got I've printed off certain pages out of that I occasionally use for some of what I do as well. So anyways, keeping this to a relatively short video, I'll be hopefully publishing another one this week with kind of the first cut of Raffin and Gildor, getting into some their initial adventures, getting them oriented within the kingdom itself, starting out with maybe a simple adventure of some sort, and we'll kind of go from there. So anyways, thanks for joining me and sticking around. If you've got any comments, questions, suggestions, or anything, please drop them in the comments below. And look forward to you catching up with me in the next episode. So, anyways, happy adventures, and talk to you all later. Thanks, guys.